Hello world, I am Howard Agnew and I'm going to attempt to speak up this video so people can actually hear me. What a concept. um, that's one of the facets of me, I guess. One of the things to know about me. Um, I mess up a lot. Everybody does. And I try to make up for my lack of competence sometimes by cracking a joke now and then. I try not to make any that are offensive to others. Sometimes I don't succeed in that goal, but usually I'm just poking at myself. Oh, folk don't mind that. It's who I am, and it's kind of my safety blanket when I'm feeling nervous. And unfortunately, I do tend to feel nervous. It's just generalized anxiety disorder. I've also got major depressive disorder. So you're looking for someone who's operating on everything at 100%. Sorry, I'm not them. I'm getting by. I've got some few but very close friends like David, who's my friend in the open source ecology group and has kicked me in the butt properly, as he should, to get myself more involved with the group. This could be the future of the community that he and I want to eventually start. And first things first, the Global Village construction set needs to be completed. The machines have to be prototyped, they have to be documented, so we have a clear set of instructions on exactly how to build each of those machines. And I'm hoping that's where I can get in. I mean, I'll put myself anywhere that I'm useful. I'll even just push around a broom, scrub toilets, and cook food. I mean, I'd be thrilled just to do that. I mean, to free up the time and the resources of the people actually who know their stuff into to prototype and build and get the machines working. But of course, I'd love to put my any other skills I have to good use, including technical writing. Um, I'm 35 years old. I was born in Tacoma, Washington on March 10, 1976. So as of this video, I am 35 years old. Not sure what else to say. I've worked my experience in technical writing was at an aerospace factory in Sumner, Washington, called Precision Aerospace and Composites, and they're a supplier to Boeing. When I was working there, Boeing was 75% of their business. And I temped for them a few times, mostly doing data entry, before I managed to land a quote-unquote real job with them, permanent, as a technical writer. Unfortunately, aerospace tends to be a very cyclical business. It has upswings and then downswings. And when it downswings, a lot of people get laid off, not just from Boeing, but from their suppliers. And that's how I came to not be working at Precision Aerospace. I was their last hired, so I was their first to get laid off. But I really enjoyed the work, and I hope I can put it to good use for the open source ecology group and the work they're doing to prototype the machines at a factory e-farm. I'd really loved a chance to get down there and be a part of that. I mean, it's just to watch it happen. I mean, it's the ground floor. I mean, they've got a couple of machines, I guess, working the tractor and the compressed earth block machine. I think I remember reading they also have the earth tiller working, and they're just going down the line. And it'll be just watching the process would be amazing. But of course, I mean, I know they have limited resources. I mean, they got to take care of their people who are there. But if I could be there, it would be a tremendous honor. I've got experience doing landscaping, both as a landscaper for a commercial lawn mowing outfit. I was with them for about a year, and then after that, I was a groundskeeper at a dog kennel for about 3 years, and that I enjoyed a lot more than the mowing people's yards, because I had a really good relationship with my boss then. I mean, that's one of the few places I've worked where it actually felt like a family. You know, where people were, I mean, it felt like a family. I mean, we knew each other by name, and it wasn't, you know, it didn't feel like anybody was there to rip anybody off or grab anything. And the same with them with me. They trusted me. Really enjoyed working there. Unfortunately, they had limited use for me, so I wasn't working enough hours to be able to keep paying my bills. I wound up taking a second job while I was working for them. I was working for them part time, so I took a part time second job that unfortunately wound up falling through, and which left me with just the job as a groundskeeper, which wasn't paying enough for me to pay my bills, even though I was living pretty minimally. Um, when I when I was last working for them, I was actually living in a really beat up, junky 1970s, early 1970s RV that I had plugged into a lady's house, essentially my landlady, who I paid the rent and the bills to. And my bills were only $400 a month, basically for the hookup. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was pretty much roughing it, and I went through one of the worst winters Washington State has had in a good 20 years or so. In the winter of 2008, 2009, we had a good 4 feet of snow, which Western Washington State, where I live, the Puget Sound region, tends to be pretty moderate. So we're not used to that. 4 feet of snow is I mean, it's rare for us. You know, we only get like a foot of snow maybe every other year or so. Usually but that was pretty bad. I've been through a couple of winters like that before. I think we had one back in the late 80s or so. Anyhow, I got through it. I mean, basically, I didn't ring up her electric bill by having the heater on. You know, the heater wasn't really working anyway in the RV. I just plugged in an electric blanket, stayed out in the RV, and I was comfortable and cozy. I had my own little space. And she had a good sized yard. I helped tend to her animals. She had some goats, quite a few dogs, and really enjoyed that. I tend to get along much better with animals than with people in general, unfortunately. And that's also why I really enjoyed my work at the dog kennel. And at the dog kennel, it was actually run out of my boss, who's the owner of the business. It was actually run out of her own personal plot. And in addition to groundskeeping, I did a lot of other stuff. She had 3 horses. When I first started working there, she had 3 horses. And I'd trim them out in the morning and muck out their stalls. I mean, I never had any kind of a stable hand experience, but I really enjoyed doing that job. I loved the horses. I loved the dogs. And for one of the horses was 45 years old. Holy cow. Older than I am. No offense to the older, more experienced crowd, but 45 years old, that's pretty up there for a horse. And one of my dogs was making his mash. Because of his age, unfortunately, his teeth had rotted away, so he couldn't really chew hay very well or eat solid food. So I made mash for him every morning. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, over the 2 or 3 years that I worked on that dog kennel, last year he finally passed away, and that's hard. I mean, but just the way that the business is run and the family-like relationship I had with my boss and my coworkers. I mean, we put our hearts on our shoulder, and my boss and I hugged each other. I mean, she had taken care of that horse for a good 20 years or so. I'm not sure where she originally got him from, but it was difficult. And I remember, months afterward, I kept looking around for that horse because he was always 45 years old, but he was getting around and getting himself in trouble a lot. And I kept looking around for him, months after he passed away. And I mean, it's just kind of I still miss him. I miss my own dog that passed away in 2006. I had a German Shepherd named Covey, and she was the world to me. I had a better relationship with her than I did with any of my quote unquote lovers that I've had. I've had a few of those. I'll avoid going into the nitty gritty details on that, but I haven't been good at relationships. But I guess it's important. This is an introduction video. It's about me, so talk a little bit about my personal life. I've been largely disenfranchised by the world, by my own nation, my own quote-unquote countrymen. It's become self-feeding, where we've made greed as the driving force behind everything. You know, business owners who start up a store because they truly want to take care of their community and do a good service, they get bulldozed over by the big box store, Walmart. And it's become survival of the greediest instead of survival of the fittest. It's not really sustainable. If any technical skills, probably my strongest suit. It's hard to say. I've got years of experience in IT, but my last IT job was working in a tech support call center 10 years ago. So my skills are obsolete. Unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with Linux as I should be, and I know that's really needed. So unfortunately, my IT skills are probably not up to snuff. A lot less experience, on the order of 6 months in technical writing, but I think that's probably my most valuable asset for the open source ecology group that I could bring. I've checked out some of the other members who have put themselves on the documentation team. Unfortunately, there's only like 6, something like that when I last looked at the list. They all seem to have more experience than me, but I mean, with a task ahead, I mean, I read the acknowledgement that documentation seems to be the weak spot right now. Love to get involved in that. I mean, I've already started trying to work on the on documentation, putting together all the stuff from the wiki onto an open office document for instructions to build the compressed earth block machine. Run into a few stumbling blocks, but at least I can see where the weaknesses are, and then we can work on focusing. And I don't know if anyone at the Factory E farm is already working on it, and if I'm just wasting my time, but I have plenty of time to waste anyway. I really would love for a chance to get down there to Factory Farm, even if my technical writing skills are too weak to be useful immediately. I'd love to just, push a broom, clean up, cook, wash dishes. I could tend to the yard. I've got landscaping and groundskeeping experience, so I can whack down some bushes. Anything that could, free up the time of the people who are there to do the prototyping. I'd be really, truly honored to be down there. Let's see. I think that about covers it for my Hello World video. Again, my name is Howard Agnew, and I'm making this video primarily for the Open Source Ecology Group.